Hello, guys. I'm here with Doug Holt. How are you, Doug?
Doing great. How are you?
Excellent. It's great to have you, Doug, on the call. So this is going to be a live session on AdWords and mobile specifically. So we have prepared some questions, some things we can talk about, but this is a AMA. So ask me anything. So if you hop on live, make sure to ask questions so that Doug can answer your specific questions, right? So let's get started. Doug, do you want to maybe introduce yourself a little bit? What are you up to these days, and what's your business about?
Sure. So I actually own 5 different businesses, but 2 of them are actually digital marketing businesses. We run a full stack digital marketing agency called Branded Innovation. That's our parent company. And our big thing is working with other vendors and small to more medium-sized businesses. We come in and lay out a 13-month strategic marketing plan and either implement that with ourselves or we bring in other outside vendors to fill that out. And really, we work as kind of the general contractor for projects for companies and really help them with, really rapid growth with focus on KPIs, so key performance indicators. As I always say, we get to play in other people's sandboxes, which makes it really fun.
It's good to have you, and I'm sure the people can learn a lot from you. And by the way, guys, if you ever need any digital marketing done, or specifically SEO, that's what I've worked with you guys for. So SEO, especially on-site SEO, and increasing the loading speed of your website, which is really important for people's frustration level to stay minimal when, opening your website, and also for Google to rank you better or to appreciate you better. And then it's really important. The guys at Branded Innovation have been outstanding, and I started recommending you to anyone that I talk to that has those needs. So
Thanks.
if you have those needs, definitely talk to Doug because they're excellent. But over time, hopefully, I'm going to be able to recommend you for all the other stuff as well.
Perfect. Hey, yeah. I'm going to take this recording and put it on our website.
Awesome. Guillaume says, all right, we have a first question. Can you increase the speed of a Shopify website? That's a good question.
That's a question we get a lot. And the short answer is yes, you can, but the longer answer is not enough to make it worthwhile. So, and what I mean by that, and obviously as a business owner, you always hate to turn out business, but Shopify doesn't allow us into the back end of the server. So there's not a lot we can do with, rendering. Some of the things that you can do is get another CDN, so another content delivery network like Cloudflare, something like that. Shopify has one as well to help yourself. But the biggest things you're going to be looking at are how long your page load speed is, what assets you have on that website, so images, and making sure you can compress those images as much as possible. And if you're using a lot of JavaScript, et cetera, on that Shopify account, you want to really make sure that it's rendering and you can cache it the best possible. But the honest answer is we get asked often about Shopify or some of the other Squarespace, and they just don't let us in the back end. So we can't really work the magic that we've done for Matt's clients.
Okay, so what kind of successes did you have with AdWords for clients or for your ventures?
So a lot of success. So we're actually a Google partner, and a Google partner is a fancy way of saying that we pay Google a lot of money. So what that means is we do a lot of AdWords for clients. And on top of that, we're also certified. So our team is certified with all the recognitions and certifications AdWords has to offer. And so we get a lot of information that the average person wouldn't have. And so it's almost not fair in the sense that we have an unfair playing field. We get to see the analytics. So Google, I can't tell you what they are, but Google will supply us with analytics and predictive analytics based on not only what's happened in the past, but what they predict for the next 8 weeks coming, which really allows us to dominate. And you mentioned site speed, and we've done some work for some of your clients. So site speed, not only the user experience is big, but over 50% of users are now on mobile, using mobile devices. And so site speed, by improving your site speed, actually reduces your cost per click. Right. So if you and I both have websites and we're competing for the same keyword, let's just call it growth hacking, and your site is really fast and my site's slower, even by a couple seconds, and all other things are the same, then really what we're going to notice is that I'm going to pay more for the same click than you are. And that's really something we've been very effective with.
I'm curious as to why. Why is that you would pay more?
So one of the big things that Google has been working on or been asking website owners to have, or business owners, right? So website owners to me are just business owners. You have to have a website now, and they want to have a good user experience, right? So Google sells ads. They're not a search engine, they're an ad agency essentially. And so what they want to do is provide a great user experiences. Let me ask you this, and we've talked about site speed before off this call, but if you go to a slow website, what do? You leave right away, right?
Yep.
You're like, I'm out of here. And so what Google is worried about is they're going to give a bad experience to their users. Their user might go to Bing or somebody else. And so what they're going to do is reward you for having a faster site, a load speed, because they've asked you to. Faster to load speed, they're going to allow you a better user experience, and so you pay less cost per click than somebody with a slower website. Now they don't tell you that, but we see it every time, and it's actually when you look at what Google wants you to do. If you use Page Speed Insights, they talk about it there.
So what's new with AdWords? I know that there's information that was released by the Google Partners Program recently.
Yeah. So again, with Google Partners, we get information a lot further. They're putting a huge emphasis on AdWords. And one of the things you can look at is attribution, right? So for example, let's say you're booking a trip. You're going to take your two best friends on a trip. You may start on your laptop when you were talking about your laptop before we got on. And then, you're not going to make the purchase though, right away. You're going to start looking tropical locations. It's getting a little cooler in Canada. You want to get out of there, maybe, escape to a warm beach. And then, a day later or so, you might be in a line, and then you might pull out your phone and do a search on there, and you might find, Aiken resorts. And then you're back to your laptop. Well, now with attribution, you can track those points. So you can actually see when was the first point of contact that a user engaged in your brand versus the last point and every point in between. And that's huge for marketers. And so we can actually now weight the importance of those. So you can say the first point of contact is the most important, or we could say, you know what, Google rate the last point is the most important, or we can have time decay in there, or we can have it linear. And now what they're going to do is allow us to use that information, not only for our data and analytics, but also to place where we want those ads to go. And that's hugely important for a marketer.
I agree. And I think that's something that a lot of businesses have been struggling for a long time, to attribute the results to the right channels.
Yeah, and time of day. Not only the channels, but let's say typically you look at analytics, and I might say, you know what, you came to my website and you came in the morning, but maybe I know that you're on mobile in the evening, and I'm extrapolating this across all my users. Well, I want to change my ads and the look and feel of my website to be to rate to where you are and what I think you'll be doing with my website. And now I have the ability to do that and get all that data. And I can look at, hey, did the first click initiate the purchase, the last click, or where along the line, the middle clicks, did you actually get that? And that gives us a whole different credit of attribution across those paths.
What are your best practices that you would recommend for AdWords?
So first thing to do is get a site audit, because if your SEO is poor, then you're going to find that you're going to be paying more, and that's a problem. Second thing is, and I'm not just saying this because we are one, but work with a Google partner if you can, because they're going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Unfortunately, what a lot of people do is they just set ads and they walk away and just hope it works. But besides that, you need to make sure you set up your negative keywords, right? So keywords you don't want to come up for ads, that's huge. We'll actually save a company. Last company we worked with, we saved them 33% of their ad budget just by eliminating negative keywords. Also, making sure that you have your ads running at the right times of day. If you're running, a daycare center, maybe the best time of day to run an ad isn't 4 a.m. Think of when your audience is actually going to be out there. People forget. So those are big things. Think of your audience and what you're doing. But also a great idea is go after your competitors and try to rank for your competitor's brand name. That's something we've found to be very successful in AdWords. I mean, I can go on just about AdWords tips for the next 6 hours, and I don't want to bore everybody in here, but just those few things will actually really save a budget. And like I said, just even by applying negative keywords, we've seen that with companies with large budgets, save them 33% of their ad spend, which is huge.
That's huge. So any tips on how to target your competitors' brands?
Yeah, you can target by their keywords. So if my competitor, for example, was business growth hackers or growth hacking, I'll just use that as an example, then I would use that as my exact match term and try to rank. So if somebody was even searching for the brand, they may see my ad, click on it, come to my website and be like, oh, I didn't know about these guys. And they may actually convert. Other ways of doing that are people will do it, and it's totally fine to do, is you can do a comparison review of your product versus your competitor's product, and then try to rank for those keywords in your competitor's brand product. That's another way of doing it. Really, you're just putting a sign out there. Just think of old traditional marketing where you're putting a billboard or a sign out, and now we have the ability to put it right across the street of our competitor's shopping center. So if somebody's coming through, they can pivot and turn and look at an alternative.
How important is it nowadays to have a mobile first approach? Well, in terms of development, but also in terms of strategy.
Huge. So obviously, people probably know about Google and Google AMP, which are accelerated mobile pages. That is a huge, huge thing that I think that as growth hackers or as business owners, you really need to know a lot about. But above and beyond that, without using AMP, because AMP usually loads about 4 times faster. It's scalable, so people use it. But even just site speed, again, we've talked about site speed, and there's statistics out there, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but your site should load less than 3 seconds. You can check this. Google has website speed tools, but it should load or ping them less than 3 seconds. If it's loading more than 3 seconds, it's too long, bottom line. And that's especially for mobile. Mobile, you should have something that's responsive and very mobile friendly. Because if we're saying that over 50% of people now are on mobile as their primary way of searching the internet, that's huge. And those numbers increase as the person's income increases, right? Because they can afford better mobile devices, and they also have more access to tablets, although we're seeing tablet usage go down. But the flip side is actually also true, right? So people in lower income brackets almost only use cell phones because they can't afford to get a laptop, but they have a smartphone or a cell phone to access the internet. So depending on those two diverging markets, those are people you're really going to see using mobile in a higher percentage.
So mobile essentially is the future.
Mobile's here. I wouldn't even say it's the I would say it was the future 3 years ago. Yeah, or 6. Yeah. I remember being at a conference, sitting there, and a speaker came up, and this was probably 6 years ago. And he grabbed his cell phone and he said, if you've solved the mobile situation on your website, you solved the problem of last year, and then threw his phone and cracked it. And it was just for dramatic effect, of course, but this was a marketing conference, and he was like, look, you should have already done that. Mm-hmm. That's 6 years. So again, I saw this 6 years ago, and he was saying at that time it was too late. Not too late, but you should be in it. You should be going all in mobile, and like you said, getting an audit, doing a site speed test right away and fixing those things. Unfortunately, when you're using something like Shopify, for a lot of reasons, Shopify doesn't want people going in and playing with their code. It's going to make sense, but you can't really move the needle too much on there. I'm happy to look at that viewer's site and let them know if we can do anything or not and give them that assessment. But that's something that's critically important. And if your site's not mobile friendly, it's kind of like having an office space and no doors, in my opinion. It's like, how are people getting in? You're making them crawl through the windows.
Okay. So what do you see, through your crystal ball, the future? I mean, we're talking about mobile. It's already here. It's going to stay. And there's, more and more usage for work and production, like just recording videos through your mobile phone and publishing that live and that sort of stuff. So what's the future in your opinion?
Yeah, well, there's more computing power in your mobile phone than there were to land people on the moon, right? And that's always what people talk about. That's just amazing in that sense. I wouldn't say the future. I would say, but what's the right now is semantic search, right? And that's searching, looking at using voice, right? So how many people are driving or what have you and say, okay, Google or Siri, what is the best podcast? What is the best coffee shop? Or who should I talk to regarding X, Y, and Z? Or they're using Amazon, right? And they're talking to, the Echo, or they're talking to Google Go. So it's all voice search. And so again, that's the present, it's not the future, but there's not many people talking about it to a general audience. And so that's another situation that should have already been solved. But if that's not something you're working on, then that's something you should be working on in relevancy with SEO, with really solid SEO practices. But to answer your real question, which is what's the future? The future really, and it's also kind of here, and I just had a conversation with a large company that people would know, I can't mention it, is AI. And how AI is going to be integrated with, their question to me was, how can we integrate AI with traditional SEO and search as it relates to wearables, right? And all that data, make it so they know that how can they put their product in front of Doug at the right time to make the purchase, and how will they know? And so these companies, and I'm talking about Fortune, this is a Fortune 100 company, so it's a big company. They're already thinking of this. They're putting plans in place now for that to happen.
What would be some of the biggest mistakes that you think people are making right now with AdWords?
The biggest mistakes is they're not managing it. I can't tell you how many companies we go into, and even they'll have an agency that's doing it for them, but they're not going in there and touching their AdWords accounts on a weekly basis. And so when I say touching, you don't really necessarily have to do anything, although we're always doing stuff in someone's account, which blows their mind. Everybody thinks you just set it and forget it, and it doesn't work that way. You constantly want to be manipulating things, changing your bidding, but also going from exact match or broad match to exact match key phrases is really critical. And once you get enough actual impressions and clicks, you can go into the display network, which is also an untapped market for many people. Right now, you're seeing everybody going to Facebook, and Facebook ads are cheap. That's awesome. But Google is warm market leads, right? Facebook, you're hoping you get in front of somebody at the right time in the right moment in between cat videos. With Google, it's someone searching and they're raising their hand saying, hey, I have a problem. How can I solve it? And so with AdWords, you really want to look at that intent marketing. So people put what they think. They'll just put the name of their product rather than the solution their product provides. And that's a big mistake.
With the high amount of mobile apps are, in the stores nowadays, is it still a good idea to build a mobile app for your business?
I'm a strategist, so it's always a case-by-case basis for me, right? I get asked, we don't build apps. And so if there's a great app builder watching this, reach out to me, please. We've had a hard time finding very trustworthy app building companies. But I would say that for a local small business, no, probably don't need an app. But if you have a community, which all businesses should be building if possible, a community like the one you've built, then an app makes sense because you can actually retain your community. Making it easier for them to engage is always critical. And your app could be a bridge, right? Your app could be using another person's technology with just your branding to make it easier for them to get in and have that. The other version that's really good with an app is branding. Because how many times, on a given day, are you looking at this? Right? When we talk about email marketing, which is something we do, and I know that's not our topic, but I ask people are like, oh, email marketing is horrible. Like, da-da-da. I'm like, well, how often do you check your email? And you see people like, oh man, I check in the morning, I check in the bathroom, check an email all day. It works. And so apps work too, but I've seen them used really poorly with small businesses that have been sold an app that just doesn't make sense, right? Like the local coffee shop probably doesn't need an app. They probably should be investing in Nextdoor, AdWords, Yelp, etc. But if you have a larger company that actually has a community with user aspects, then I would say go for it.
Okay, such as the Business for Geniuses community. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Businesses for Geniuses community, there should be an app for there.
Okay, should you design for mobile first and then for desktop?
I say design for the user experience. So so this is one of these politically correct answers, right? But we design for mobile. In fact, we're seeing, some designers come in and doing just one column designs now. And this is interesting in the marketing field. So single column design is specifically designed to fit and render on a mobile, but I would say design with AMP in mind, right? So with that AMP, accelerated mobile pages in mind, and making sure you can have that technology, and design with site speed in mind. Because you need a user to be able to use your answer really quickly, because our attention spans are so quick that even a 30-minute video like we're doing here, it's hard for people to stay engaged and they want to be entertained. So you need to get them right away and make sure it's easily accessible for them all times.
I should probably start learning how to make balloons, or have some like juggling while we're doing the interview.
Exactly. There needs to people like to be entertained.
What kind of talents do you have to entertain people?
Nothing. That's why I have to stick to strategy and SEO and full stack marketing, because I'm not as entertaining.
All right, Doug, it's the same for me. I'm definitely not entertaining. That's not my focus. But thank you so much for doing this. Sorry about that. We're kind of out of time. Let's hopefully do another one of these at another time with a different topic. But thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.